All right, thank you for that. So, good evening once again, everyone. It's so amazing to be here this evening, and so good to connect with everyone once again. I would love to know where you're joining us on this call tonight. So, if you can put in the comment section where you're joining in from. So while I start, and thank you so much, everyone, for the warm welcome, and thank you so much, Love, for that amazing welcome as well. Initially, I actually was not hearing anything, so I felt we've not started, but I forgot that I didn't connect my computer audio to um what's it called? I didn't connect my computer audio to the Zoom meeting. So that's why I could not hear anything. But now I'm able to like figure that out. So good evening, Tessie. So she's joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. Good evening, Miriam. Good evening, Lunge Kinde joining in from Abuja, Nigeria. Shegun Popola, that's my surname, United States of Lagos, Nigeria. And Courage from Benin City, Nigeria. So we've got a lot of people from Nigeria. Oluwatosin Okejiran from Nigeria, Ibadan. Miriam from South Africa. Good to have you here tonight. All right, let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Awesome, right? So like we all know, right? So we know what we are talking about tonight, and I'm particularly excited that I'll be getting to talk about this topic with you all tonight. All right, so who am I and why should you listen to me? Thank you, Damilola, for joining us from Kogi State, Felicia from Mboyi State. All right, so I'm Mayowa Rachel Pupola. As you all know, I'm a registered nurse like you all, and I'm a nurse career strategist. I help nurses connect to opportunities beyond the bedside. And aside being a nurse career strategist and a registered nurse, I am also the founder of the Nurse Skill Up Academy. Of course, that's why we are here tonight. So I'm the founder. Sorry about that. Okay. This is my first time of trying to use two like use my phone to connect and then use my laptop. So I'm just like destroying things. So sorry about that. All right. So like I said, I'm the founder of No Skill Up Academy, of course, which was co-founded by Gadima Love. Right. So beyond all this, right? So how did how did this like all this how did they start? Right. So let's go back to about 4 or 5 years ago. I was just newly out of college, and then I was just like learning a lot of things. I wanted to like I don't want all that there is to me just to be nursing. I felt having just a nursing certificate after my 4 years in college is not actually something that would give me meaning. So I started exploring, and then started learning a lot of digital skills, just learning things as it comes, right? And COVID happened, and of course, that was like a great opportunity to now delve into the world of learning. And fast forward to 2021, I moved back to Nigeria from India. I studied in India. And then now I am faced with the reality, right? Because now I could put most of the things I learned to use, right? But I've always been the kind of person that I know that I want to do more for myself. And I feel like, please, can you unmute yourself if so that we can hear us? Okay, maybe I should just do that from my hand. All right. So I think what I'll do is just make love host, and then so it's easy for her to like undo the back end control. All right. Okay. So where was I? So I was talking about, yeah, I go back to Nigeria and then realized that this is now an avenue for me to put what I've learned to practice. Left to me, I would actually not do that, but I soon found out that I needed something to bring me money. And I was like, oh well, if I've actually gotten a lot of compliments, for example, designing and writing, why not start monetizing these skills? So I launched out. So I remember the first time I was thinking of how to make money from my writing skills. The only thing I could thought of was LinkedIn. Where I felt, well, I can actually post on LinkedIn and then get customers. So why not give it a try? And truth be told, it worked, right? So I wrote an article, which I still get a lot of feedback from till today, on how to register as a foreign trained nurse in Nigeria, because I was once a foreign trained nurse. And when I was back in India trying to look for information on how to register in Nigeria, I found out that there were actually not enough information to help someone like me go through the process. So I was like, okay, why not write an article? So I wrote the article, posted on LinkedIn, and then I didn't actually have to pitch for a job. So I got a one of the popular nursing blogger in Nigeria then reached out to me. So he just like posted the thing on his blog. And of course, then I actually did not know anything about plagiarism, IP, and all those stuff, right? So he reached out that, oh yeah, I love what you did with this. So why don't you come and write for my blog? So that was how I started out on LinkedIn. So I was like, well, if I can actually make money and then get clients on LinkedIn, that means I can actually continue. So then I wasn't so sure about what I wanted to do. So you see me post random thoughts on LinkedIn. You see me share about stuff related to health writing, content writing, nursing writer stuff and all, right? But I was just dabbling into a lot of things, and then my priority then was to make money and of course have engagement. Let me know, like, I actually go frustrated at the point because I wasn't getting the engagement that I needed, but that's a story for another day, right? But I started out and I did get clients from LinkedIn, right? So, and then it got to a point where I could not actually undo the influx of projects that I get and then showing up online. So, and then again, combine that with I was working full time as an intern nurse, and then I was also planning to relocate to the United Kingdom. So I had to sit myself down that something has to go, right? And I chose to let go of LinkedIn at that time. Awesome. So let me know if you're following me in the comments, right? So why did I share all this? I left go, right? But I've always had a burning vision for nurses to shift their mindset to help them see that possibilities does exist beyond the bedside. And I knew that it is something that I cannot just sit down and fold my hands and not do anything about, right? So I knew that one day something was going to happen, although I wish I had actually done certain things earlier than, the way I start, like later than I did. So I I suspended LinkedIn and then relocated to the United Kingdom. So I was just focused on my OSCE and every other thing. I wrote my OSCE, and then I was like, okay, why not start again? Like, I know that I've always had this vision to help nurses see that they can do more beyond the bedside. And then I was like, okay, what can I do? And then I started reaching out to a few people, enrolled for certain courses, and then relaunched my brand last year. So all this growth that you see is just within a year, right? So I was less than maybe 2,000 followers when I relaunched my brand on LinkedIn March of 2024. And now we are close to 12,000 followers on LinkedIn. And of course, you all are here because of that opportunity. And while I share that story, another important thing to notice is that recently I got featured on Fabicon as the number 4 in health and medical for LinkedIn creators in Nigeria, right? And that was like a kind of how do I say it? I wasn't really expecting it because in March I went from being number 16, I think. So when the number 16 came, I was like, oh wow, so like what does this mean, right? And then the number 4, I had to even go and ask ChatGPT, what do you think this means for me? And it was a massive one. I wasn't really expecting, but this is to tell you what showing up as a brand can do for you. And of course, beyond the recognition, beyond the fame, there is so much more that personal branding and building a brand as a nurse can do for you. And that is why we are here this evening. So yeah. So what is personal brand? Or before I even go to branding and what is personal brand, so think of any of your favorite brand, maybe your favorite influencer, your thought leader, your coach, your favorite content creator. what makes them stand out to you? Like when you think of, let's say, for example, No Sugar or No Scochola, or maybe if you know John Obidi, for example, what comes to mind when you think about these people? Like why do you think they stand out to you? I'd love to hear from you in the chat box. Love, can you please mute everyone so there's less interruption? Thank you. All right, so I'd love to read from you in the chat. What comes to mind when you see your favorite nurse coach, for example, nurse influencer, not necessarily nursing related, like a popular person that you know? Can you all hear me? I would want this session to actually be as interactive as possible because I believe that's how we can make the most out of it. So Shegun says, I used to wonder how consistent they have been to get to where they are. Can you please confirm if you're all with me? I would not want to be speaking to myself. All right, thank you for that. So we are with you. So I'd love to hear what comes to mind. Like, what do you think make them stand out when you see, for example, our Proco doctors content on Instagram or maybe YouTube, for example? What do you think make them stand out? Thank you, Jennifer, for that. Okay, so Tessie says, I wonder how they get their inspiration also. And Alunga kind of said, like Shegun, what sacrifices did they have to make and steps they took to get to where they are? So I know that you're thinking about the work behind the scene, but what do you think make them stand out? Maybe I should rephrase that question. So think of your favorite influencer. What do you think make them stand out as a brand? Consistency. Thank you, Esther, for that. All right, so Damilola says, for me, I think what makes them stand out is what they have done rightly consistently over a period of time. I love that. So what they have done consistently over a period of time. And yeah, so Goodness says the unique force put into branding. Amazing. And Georgia says how they present their brand. Interesting. Kende says their unique method of delivering content, uniqueness of their content. Tessie, Ibukun says they try to provide solutions to pressing problems in the society. Yes, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, Ibukun, because more than beyond the consistency that you see, beyond the content that you see, there is a why, right? And of course, we're going to get into that as we go on. All right. So in tonight's session, I will be taking you again, like I mentioned earlier, on our scene to scene and how to grow a magnetic nursing brand and network. And we'll be looking at branding, what is personal branding, and busting common myths related to branding, and then why nurses need to build a brand. And we'll be looking at the magnetic framework. I call it the IBM framework, which is 3 steps to go from unseen to seen. And of course, we'll be ending with a mindset shift. So I'll try to like keep my energy intact because I did a night shift. Like I finished night shift this morning, went to church, and then now I just have like maybe 2 hours of sleep so far. So pardon me, and I'll try to keep my energy as as intact as possible. So, what is branding? Right. So, a brand, I'll start with telling you what a brand is, and then we go into branding, and then we go into personal branding, right? So, a brand is a product or business with a distinct identity among consumers. So, I'll take it again. A brand is a product or business with a distinct identity among consumers. I got this definition from Investopedia. And what is branding? Branding is the process of creating the brand identity of a company. So, listening to this definition, you can already pick up certain keywords. For example, product, business, distinct identity, consumers, brand identity and all that. So what is personal branding? Personal branding is your intent, your reputation rather, that you built intentionally. Your reputation built intentionally. So I was going through the charts when I joined in, and I know Love was asking you questions about, so if you've connected with me on LinkedIn, right? And some of you have said, oh, yeah, I've connected with you, I've read your posts and I love them, stuff like that. So that is like a form of personal brand, right? So your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Right. So now, of course, branding is vast, and personal branding is a subset of branding. And we'll be looking into this in detail as we go ahead. But if there's something you would live with as we progress, is that branding has to do with the identity you create, either for yourself or for the products or services you render to people, or when people think about you or the services you render, what comes to their mind. All right. So now I want us to do like a form of another activity. So what are the common myths that keep nurses invisible? So for example, if you're thinking of launching your brand now, why do you think you might not actually take the action? So I love to read from you all in the comments. I have few, not even few, I have loads, right? Beyond the story that I shared earlier, I also have various reasons I sold to myself for not showing up, which over time I realized that they were actually not genuine reasons, right? But I'll be talking more about this as we progress. So let me know, why do you think you might not show up to build your brand? What are the fair? Thank you, Shego. I love that. Like, so let me just say that I think I forgot to mention. So consider this as a masterclass. This kind of conversation is something that you will not actually hear elsewhere. So I'm not just going to focus on how to go viral on LinkedIn, because I know it might be why we are here tonight, right? In as much as yes, virality is good to put you in the faces of people that matters. It is beyond virality, and I'll tell you why as we progress. So I keep saying, tell you why as we progress, because I want you to stay with me, right? So yes, so this, consider this as a masterclass. In fact, if you were to pay for this, it's not going to be free, right? So, and that's why I want to actually make sure that we get the basics right. And when we get the basics right, it is easy for you to build on that. And of course, it's like a bear it or session tonight. So I love the responses coming in already. So Shagun says fair. Ganiyu says being very busy, okay, and then I'll speak to that. All right, so I'll try to address this as much as possible. Lazy and procrastination. I love that you are being authentic and you're not just trying to like cover things up. And I can actually relate to most of these myths that you are sharing. Kind of says lack of clarity for me, not knowing the exact way to put yourself out there. Do you know that it is actually interesting that I could relate to most of the things you're sharing? And Ganiyu says not knowing what to do or how to do it. Interesting. Adedo Abigail says not knowing what brand to build exactly and the skills. I hear you all. And I'm so glad you're all on this call with me tonight. So before I go into some of the things I noted down in my own notes. So I'll start with speaking on some of these myths that we've listed in the comments. So keep them coming. I'll try to address as much as possible, right? So talking about fear. So if I want to like talk more about addressing this fear, why do you think you are afraid? For example, Shegun, if that is something that speaks to you, why do you think you're afraid about showing up as a brand? Not necessarily online or telling people about what you do, right? So why are you afraid? Fear of what? So yeah, and then I'll come back to that. And then being very busy, right? So I also used to think, remember when I shared my story, I said when I started out on LinkedIn, I knew that I was going to get client, right? I got the client, I figured I would not be able to, you know, meet up. And then I was like, it's better for me to suspend all my activities on LinkedIn and then prioritize what is important, which of course there is no harm in doing that. But I wish I had known better, or maybe even if I had known better, I might not have been able to afford what to give me the opportunity to show up consistently on LinkedIn, right? So be very busy. Do you know to be a brand, for example, to show up as a brand, you necessarily do not have to be you know, be there every time, right? You can delegate responsibilities for people that can handle that part for you. And then we'll look into that as well, right? So when you're thinking about branding, so just think about a major maybe international organization or corporation. Do you think that their CEO is always available, for example, in every meeting, always showing up online, always, doing things alone for the company? Do you think that's the case? Of course, it's not going to happen. They probably have a virtual assistant or a personal assistant. They probably have someone managing their social media account, right? They probably have their social media team, right? They probably have a team, board of trustees, and then they have the employee rather. They have people working for them. So if you're thinking about an international organization, I think that's also one of the mindset I want you to live with tonight. That in as much as you're building something, this is beyond you just showing up and posting content on LinkedIn. So that is why I said this is more than a viral, like a session that will teach you on how to go viral, right? So beyond thinking of, oh yeah, maybe or not necessarily LinkedIn, maybe Instagram, maybe Facebook, Twitter, whatever platform, or TikTok, whatever platform you choose to show up. That is like even a tiny bit, a tiny fraction of what building a brand entail, right? So that's just I hope that answers that being very busy. And then laziness and procrastination. And I think one thing I normally tell myself is if I refuse to take action today, I will still be the same person in the next 5 years, in the next 5 years, right? So the more you just think about the more you postpone certain things, the more you postpone. For example, people that are waiting on you to get the results that they want, it means you are postponing their solution. And God is actually merciful. He would not want those people to wait for too long. And that's why the people say idea is a window. Then you see that the next thing someone is already executing your idea. So why do you want to do that to yourself, right? And I look get kind of says lack of clarity for me, not knowing the exact way to put yourself out there. And I see you, right? So I feel like I'm not going to exhaust this now. So you get to know about these in detail. And if you've got questions, please note them down. I will take your questions at the end. Not knowing what to do or how to do it. That answers to lack of clarity. Yeah, not knowing what brand to build and exactly the skills. Yeah, fear of the unknown, right? So you're like, oh, what will happen? Will people even listen to me? Yeah. So when I started, I used to feel like, oh my God, what if people think I'm a fraud? I'm trying to tell them things that are not even realistic. I have a lot of thoughts going through my head, and I realized that these things are actually true thoughts, right? But we've got feedbacks, we've got testimonials of life that have been transformed over the years, and that is saying something that people need the solution that you're offering to them, right? So beyond the fear, you have to move on, move from beyond the fear to taking action, right? And some of the common myths that keep nurses on scene that I've noted down is I'm not a leader yet. So I used to think that, oh, I need to attain certain level before I can show up as a brand, or even like to position myself as a thought leader. But you need no title to be a leader, right? You don't necessarily have to be a manager in your place of work to actually show up online, right? So just think about people doing amazing things online today, and you always think, oh, yeah, I can actually do this even better, right? So yeah, you actually do not need any title to start online. And I'll show you why. I keep saying I'll show you why because I'm going to show you why all these actually do not matter. And then some will say I don't like to put myself out there. Some will even say, oh, I'm not a social media person. I know, right? Oh my god, Instagram is not for me, Twitter is too toxic. Oh my god, LinkedIn feel like everybody's trying to show off. You're just trying to say, okay, today I'm happy to announce that, LinkedIn, LinkedIn language, right? I'm happy to announce that I just got this, I just did that, right? So you feel like, oh my god, I don't even think I have what it takes to show up, or I don't even think I want to put my face out there, right? What if people come for me? Yeah, so someone is saying exactly, I'm not a social media person. Is my own reason. But just think about people would that are not even making impact. I'm trying to be careful of the word I use, right? Just think about people that necessarily are not contributing something valuable in that sense. Maybe it's just like, for example, comedy, or just like creating content for the fun of it, and they've got a lot of following because of that. How much more you think you've got what it takes to shift the next generation of nurses into manifestation of who they can be, right? So how much more, right? So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not a social media person, then of course you have to start rethinking why you want to do what you want to do, right? So, and someone says, honestly, this is the situation I find myself currently. I really want to build a brand, but I'm afraid because I really do not want to start and stop on the way. Yeah, I know that fear. I used to be someone that think, oh yeah, I want to build something sustainable, right? I don't want to just show up today and then end up disappearing at first, but it also speaks to your why. And that's why I said this particular session, I've got you. It's not going to be something you're used to. I'm going to cover and address all these questions so that you shift your mindset from all this fear to actually taking action. So if you're going to live with anything today, is actually a mindset that will take you to execution, right? So beyond just joining another webinar, this should be something that shifts you to take action. And the final myth I noted down is I'm not tech savvy. So some people be like, oh, I don't even know how to use this tool. ChatGPT, which one is ChatGPT again? Like this. So this kind of thing, right? But most of these things are actually not technical, right? And most time you just need to actually start somewhere and then you build up on your skills. You don't need any tech knowledge for example to operate LinkedIn is very user friendly. For example, you don't actually need, like, okay, maybe if you think, oh, you might not be able to build your website, there are platforms that you can use to build website without coding. For example, Wix rather is an example of that. You necessarily do not have to say, okay, I want to start coding, or it's already like it is a ready-made platform. You just need to like edit, and then your website is live. Canva also has got features like that. There are a lot of ready-made tools and software available these days that will help you actually to build your brand. So all this is just to tell you that all these things are actually excuses, right? Excuses will not get you results. So if in the next 1 to 3 years, if you're going to look at yourself and be happy with yourself and say that you've actually attained results. So just imagine last year I didn't make the decision to relaunch my brand. What do you think would have happened? I'll still be the same Mayo, and you probably would not have heard about No Skill Up Academy, right? So just to let you know that most time these things, they are valid. Yes, they are valid, but they're often excuses that are meant to rob you of your greatness, right? They're excuses that are meant to keep you in that same position for you not to take action. All right. So why is it important for nurses to build a brand? Right. So why do you need to build a brand? Why is that important? I know people have been saying, oh, I don't want to show myself. I beg, I'm not a social media person. And again, brand building is beyond social media, right? It is beyond social media. So why do you need to build a brand as a nurse? It gives you more visibility, and more visibility equals more opportunities, right? So just imagine if maybe they're looking for nurses who can actually create solution, maybe excuse me, digital solutions in certain spaces. Who do you think they're going to reach out to? Of course, people that are showing up and letting people know that they can do this. And that's why also I'm going to delve more into what personal branding entails, right? So building a brand, again, I need to keep hammering this, is beyond showing up on LinkedIn and posting content. It is beyond, you know, um color, your logo. It is beyond, the kind of pictures you post online. It is beyond all that, right? But one thing I want you to know is that more branding gives you more visibility, because if now people know you, if people don't know that you do this, how are they going to reach out to you, right? And necessarily the opportunities do not have to come from your place of work, right? There are lots of opportunities that I've been privileged to, you know have, just because of building my personal brand, right? If I were to just focus on my work, I would not have gotten this opportunity, maybe not even in the next 5 years, right? So visibility gives you more opportunities. And then, of course, you have more career opportunities like jobs, collaboration, speaking. I shared earlier how I got clients from LinkedIn, right? So for jobs, I recently got a role, although I didn't like intentionally, I did not announce it on LinkedIn, but that role came from LinkedIn, for example, and it came from recommendation. So someone posted that role, and then people started tagging me to the post, and then I applied, put my best foot forward, got the job, right? So that's telling you something, right? But what if I'm not visible? What would have happened? And then collaboration. So Love shared earlier about how we've never met, but we are building the North Skill Up Academy. So just imagine the amazing opportunity being visible can do for you, right? Speaking engagement. Since I started out, I've got tons of speaking engagement. In fact, lately I've had to start declining some because I feel like I needed time to focus on some other aspects of my life as well. So I might not actually be able to delete to create that time actually to speak in those events. So just imagine, right? So most time the things you desire are on the opposite end of taking action. I'll take that again. The things you desire are on the opposite side of taking action. So let me know, are you following in the comments? Am I speaking to you? Are you getting value? Do you think we should stop and then go call this a day? Maybe just go and chill on Netflix or YouTube. So let me know what you think in the comment. So why do you need to build a brand? It helps you establish yourself as an authority in your field or your niche. So now if you see my name, for example, what would you think? Oh, Nurse Beyond Bedside. And that is authority building, right? That is influence. So if you think, oh, Apricot Doctor, what would come to your mind, right? If you think of Tony Elumelu, what would come to your mind, right? If you think of Bill Gates, for example, Elon Musk, President Donald Trump, President Tinubu, for example, what is coming to your mind, right? So it is because they've actually shown themselves to you as a brand. So what if they actually don't have media representation on that? What would you think would have happened? And that is why I said building personal brand is beyond social media. Because if you think about some of these top personalities that I've mentioned, even beyond the era, before the era of social media, they've been intentional about curating their presence in the mind of people. So you would normally see them being featured in newspaper, for example, in magazine, sharing about the work they do, the impact they've achieved, how they're solving one problem, how they are meeting the needs of people. That is branding, right? Because they are trying to paint a narrative for you. They want you to see them in a particular way, right? So that when you say, oh, once you see Tony Elumelu, you know that, oh yeah, this is what it's for, right? Once you see Bill Gates, oh yeah, this is what it's for, because they've been able to consistently build a reputation in your mind, and then as an authority in that particular area they are known for, right? And of course, increased influence in within your reach, right? So and then why do you need to build a brand? It attracts collaborations. People come to you to collaborate together, less of problems. For example, when the idea of No Skill Up Academy initially came, I was like, oh my god, I don't think I have the energy to actually do this. So I just pushed it to one side. Then Love reached out. Oh yeah, so how did we connect? I wanted to host a webinar on digital skills and monetization for nurses, and not Love was the only person that I feel could actually deliver that training to my audience. So I reached out to Love. She came, delivered that session. The feedback was mind blowing. It was epic. And then she kept getting a lot of DMs, and all that. And then she reached out, Nosmaiwa, this is what I've been getting. What do you think we need to do for these people? Right. And then I was like, yeah, I've actually had this idea, but I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just push it. And then we realized that we were not going to push this any longer. And thankfully, we did not, because what would have happened? Just imagine, right? So, collaborations have had opportunity to work on projects, right? Even beyond that, I became intentional on LinkedIn. I've had the opportunity to work on projects just because I positioned myself as a go-to person to deliver the solution. If you go through, for example, my experience session, you see some of my writing experience. I've had opportunity to work with certain top nursing personality, for example, Prince Agedo, Abiodun, Oluwatobi, NGO nurses, and some of these top people when I was starting out. Why did I get that opportunity? I just needed to pitch myself as, oh yeah, I know how to write content. If you're looking for collaboration, maybe they're looking for volunteer, just go and then volunteer. And that was how I started. And from volunteering for some of these roles, I got clients, got gigs, and the rest is history, right? So that is what branding can do for you, right? You get offers, right? Some can be monetary, some might not necessarily be monetary, and growth beyond your current role, right? So earlier this year I wanted a mindset shift, so I decided to travel for Sunseal conference in the United States, right? And the experience, it left me not the same person, right? It gave me a picture of possibility, right? And it helped me see what we can do more, even for No Skill Up Academy, for example. Why did I actually, and when I entered that room, I did not actually sit down and I did not keep quiet. I was not just part of the audience. I made sure that I engaged. I put myself in the face of people and I said, oh my God, everyone, great. I'm just sharing this example. And of course, we're also talking about networking, right? So these are tips you can use. So great to be here. I flew all the way from the United Kingdom to be in this conference. I particularly love this particular session, and I would want to ask this question, blah 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 blah. And that particular thing I did opened the mind of people to me. I realized that people started gravitating towards me, right? And Socio did something interesting. So on your ID card, there's a QR code that takes you to you, that takes people to your LinkedIn and you directly. So when people scan, then they see that, oh, you've got a lot of following on LinkedIn. Oh, you're doing this. That even like gave me more credibility in the face of people. So just imagine, right? And I was like, oh my God, I was not actually expecting this reaction, but was it helpful? Yes. So that is what branding can do for you, right? So let me know what are you picking? Am I speaking to you? Are you picking something? I'll just go through the chat box. I'll try not to bore you too much. I know I can try to like talk and talk and talk, but I'm just trying to make sure that you get the most out of this. All right. So thank you, Lord, for highlighting the things you desire is on the opposite side of taking action. Exactly. So when you build your brand, you get collaboration, speaking engagement, job offers, great network, and more. Awesome. So now to the magnetic framework that I call the IBM framework. So I want you all to type, thank you, Ibukun, for that. So we are following. I want you all to type in the chat box, IBM framework. IBM framework. So if I get 5 responses, I'm going to continue just to make sure you all are following me. So this magnetic framework is, to simply put, it's just steps to go from being unseen to seen. So if you're thinking about building something meaningful, how do go from being invisible to gaining visibility? So the IBM framework. Let's keep it coming in. Thank you. Felicia says, I'm getting insight. Yeah, thank you for that. So I think I need 3 more. Only two people have written IBM framework. Five. IBM. Okay, two more. Thank you. One more. Awesome. All right. So, what is the IBM framework? So, it is the brand, your brand identity, brand building, and brand marketing. So, I was just thinking about how to group what I have to share tonight, and then so I'm just going to use these three framework. I stands for identity, B for building, and M for marketing. So brand identity, brand building, and brand marketing, right? So brand, I'll take that again, brand identity, brand building, and brand marketing. So now let's go to brand identity. All right. You know, when I started, I said this is going to be an unusual session. So, what is brand identity? Before we go into brand identity, I want to speak to another an important aspect, which is self-discovery through self-assessment. Self-discovery through self-assessment, right? And this would actually be where this identity part will be very useful to people that said they lack clarity, they don't know what to do, how to start, where to start from. So this is where you actually need to pay more attention to. All right. So when I think I should just share a story so that that will kind of drive my message home. So 2019, I was in search of purpose, right? And I didn't even want to go into why I started searching for purpose, but I wanted to know why I exist as a person. And I started reading books, started praying. I'm a Christian, so I believe in God actually speaking to you about why you're here on earth. So I started praying, and then one day I saw someone posted on their status about a leadership development program. I enrolled for it, and that was the start of something. Lit a spark rather in me, and that was the start of something remarkable, right? So, and then I realized that wait, why am I even here on earth, right? Like, what was my personality? What am I gift? What am I so good at? What do people compliment me for? If maybe I meet people now, what do they say about me? What are these things, right? So I started asking myself questions. So then I love writing. I still love writing, and I love reading as well. So I was like, "Oh, well, writing is a good place to start." So I love putting out my thoughts out there, and I normally get a lot of compliments for that. So I was like, okay, why not start from there? So I started writing, and I started posting on Instagram, and I got frustrated because I was not getting the result I wanted. But that's not even where I'm going to, right? So asked myself this question, and then figured out why not start with writing. But you know, some of these questions, you actually don't get answers to them immediately, right? Some comes from the place of action. So that was why I said earlier, the result that you want is on the opposite side of taking action. Just thinking, you know, sitting down and all. Yeah, it's good to journal, it's good to meditate, it is good to be introspective, but this will just be on paper if you don't take action on those things, right? So I started asking myself these questions, and then I figured, yeah, I'm good at writing. Let me start with that, right? And then I realized, oh, I have a flair for design. Let me learn graphics design. And then I started designing, right? And over time. But at a point, I was not happy because I knew that all that I want to be known for is not just a content writer, for example. I know shades to being a content writer. I don't want to be known as a graphics designer. No, I know that's not what I feel led to do, right? So I journal a lot, right? So I started noting down that graphics designing, writing, teaching, speaking, they are all tools to aid me in the delivery of what I want to do, right? So what do I want to do? So, but I didn't actually get this clarity in one day. It took me years. I started writing over years, jumped into designing, jumped into another thing, right? Before I figured that no, writing is not just what I want to be known for, right? Speaking is not just what I want to be known for, right? Design is not just what I want to be known for. Yes, all these things will help me do what I want to do. That's why you will see me put beautiful carousels on LinkedIn, for example. You will see me write well on LinkedIn. You will see me, you know, like for example, speaking now is a tool to get to talk to you, right? But these are not just what I want to be known for, right? It comes from the place of doing and clarity. So if you want to know what you want to do, I'll say start first with yourself, right? So when you know who you are, it is easy to know why, your why, and what you want to do, right? So what are you good at? What are you gifted in? How can you then refine what you're gifted in to serve people, right? So you have to know what is your purpose. Then from your purpose, you can now find out, um write down your vision. For example, if my purpose is to break the professional stereotype in nursing in the mind of people, that is my purpose. For example, what vision do I have? Vision is, oh, in the next 5 years, I'm going to build a large community of nurses in Africa and developed nation coming together, doing amazing stuff, right? Related to innovation, tech, and stuff like that. I'm just giving an example. And then goals. Oh, my first goal is launch Nurse Skill Up Academy, for example, launch maybe webinar, right? That will speak to, shattering some limiting mindset in nurses. So I just help you see what purpose is, what vision is, and what goal is, right? So let me know if you get what I'm trying to explain. So you have to start from the place of knowing yourself, right? I figure that a lot of adults, even though they are adults, right, they actually don't know themselves. They don't see them with themselves to know who they are. Right. So this is when you actually need to start taking personality assessment tests. Why is this important? Because it helps you know the kind of things you're wired, naturally wired to do. So you've got your strengths, right? So for example, I said I have a flair for writing, and then I soon figured that it was actually part of my personality, right? So why can't I just leverage on this part of my strength to deliver what I want to do, right? But if you don't know that you're good at these things, how are you going to do it, right? So knowing, do take personality assessment, or example of such is 16personality.com. You can use that. Go to Google, type in that, and it's free. And if you want like a more detailed description about who you are, you can pay for their premium version, but it's free to take. There are lots of personality assessment tests online that you can do to uncover who you are. Again, why is it important? When you know who you are, it is easy for you to know your why, right? So it's just like saying, oh, Mayowa is this person. So when I know Mayowa is this person, oh, Mayowa, for example, is introverted, Mayowa is an extrovert, for example. Okay, what have I got? Oh, Mayowa has a flair, has got this kind of personality. Then I know what are the things under this kind of personality? What are my strengths? Ask yourself questions. You have to be able to sit with yourself to ask yourself some vital questions, right? And then let people know that yes, sorry, 1 minute please. All right. So I thought I made love the host. Sorry about that. I just forgot I haven't. Oh my God. All right. So sorry about the break. So where was I? Can someone tell me where I stopped? Yeah, self-discovery. Thank you, Boku. So yeah. So when you know what you are gifted at, right, then you can now refine it to again how you can serve people, right? So beyond posting, and that is why you see a lot of people getting confused. And again, another thing I want to speak to is that um you would often find out that over time you grow. As you grow, your vision evolves, your purpose evolves, right? So as you grow, you often say that certain things grow, and you might even drop some things on the way, which is why if you don't take action, you would never attain clarity. So you can never attain clarity staying idle. All right, so that's one thing. Another thing I want you to learn today. If you think you're going to gain clarity from just journaling, from just meditating, yes, it helps you get a form of clarity and direction. But a lot of time when you execute, you get more clarity. It has happened to me, and I've often found that like over time that when you take action, you get more clarity. In fact, when you have an idea, for example, maybe I want to start this hypnosis, and you feel like, oh yeah, this is how I can start. I would normally say that as long as you put a bit of structure, it doesn't have to be perfect. Start, because oftentimes you will realize that the way you think it will go will actually be different from how you would do those things, right? So clarity often comes from taking action. So yeah. And then when you know why, then it is easy for you to now determine what you want to do, like I said. So then I'll go into type of branding. So we have, that's why I said branding is beyond just posting on LinkedIn, it is beyond your color, it is beyond your logo, right? So we have personal branding, we have corporate branding, we have product or services branding. So I already explained what personal branding is all about. It is what you want to be known for. So, and then of course, corporate, from the word corporate, you know what that means, and products or services. I'm thinking about one product that you love particularly, maybe Apple Music or Netflix, for example. These are example of service branding, right? So branding is beyond posting on social media. So now, how do you define your brand identity? How do you define your brand identity? How do you go from being so uncertain, being unclear about what you want to do, and then how do you stop yourself from jumping from one thing into the other, right? So who are you, like I said? So you need to clarify your values. What makes you be? What do you like doing? What do you want to be known for? Right? Clarify your values, your passion. Then what are you passionate about? What do you love talking about? What can you go on talking about without getting tired? And then what skills do you possess? And oh, if I don't have the skills, how can I build up on those skills to actually deliver on what I love doing? And what unique experiences do you have as a nurse, right? So for example, if you want to speak to pregnant women, have you got like a background in midwifery? Do you have a personal story related to maybe maternal health that you feel like it's a great place to start with? Right. So clarify your values, clarify your passion, clarify your skills and unique experiences. And then two, what do you want to be known for? Right. So I know that you're confused now. That's why I said it's okay to start from somewhere, because as you grow, your vision evolves, right? So identify your niche or focus area. So remember when I started, I said, oh, I love writing. So I started with writing, right? Then I found out that writing is even vast, right? So I can be a content writer, and it's not even enough to be a content writer. I have to choose the niche. Am I writing health related content? Am I writing beauty related content, fashion related content? Is it comedy? Is it education? Is it entertainment? There are loads of niches, even in underwriting, right? And then, oh yeah, then I realized, oh yeah, it's not just writing. I can't just say I'm a content writer. Okay, I've actually got background in health. I'm a nurse, so I'll go into being a nurse writer or health writer. Now that is how I niched down. So I didn't just stop at writing or being a content writer. So I went deeper, right? I became a nurse writer, a health writer. So I know that I've got what it takes because I've got that background knowledge to write for health blogs, for example, nursing blogs, for example, or companies, or healthcare companies, right? So identify your niche or focus area. Is it digital health, for example? Love niches into digital nursing, digital marketing, I know, right? And then the ghostwriting as well. Maybe, for example, nurse educator, advocacy, freelance writing, just niche down because, again, when you niche down, it is easy for you to start somewhere and then get tangible results. So just think about people that you know online. Remember, again, I keep going back to this question. Why do they stand out to you? Someone say because of the solution they offer to people, right? So yeah. So for example, Aproko Doctor, you know him because he creates health content in a way that is relatable to people, that people find relatable, and in a, like, he uses storytelling also to create health content. And what he's doing is actually is like a big form of behavioral change technique. So he's helping people adopt good health practices through storytelling and bite-sized content, right? So I'm just using this example because it's something we can relate to. So yeah. And then if you're not sure, if you have maybe a niche you're considering, you can leave them in the comments and then I can give example of how you can niche down. So, and that is number two. Number three, who is your audience? So who do you want to serve, right? Are you going to serve nurses? So for example, the Nurse Skill Academy, we are looking at serving not just nurses, but healthcare professionals, looking at how they can monetize their skills and expertise beyond the bedside to build thriving business ventures, right? So that is our target audience. Nurses, healthcare professionals. So who is your target audience? If you're saying you're going to write health content, are you writing health content for pediatric? Is it for pregnant women? Is it for healthcare organizations, for example? So that would be like a I think business to business approach, if I'm not mistaken. And then is it healthcare innovator? Is it to patients themselves? Is it diabetic patient, or you're just covering general health issues? So who is your target audience? Who are you writing for? And that is why it is easy for you to actually come online and then say, dear nurse, for example, if you read my content, you often see me put the word nurse, dear nurse. If I nurse, do this. That's because I'm speaking directly to my target audience. I can easily say, if you want to do this, if you want to land a non-clinical job, do this, right? Or if you want to land a job, do this. So who am I talking to, right? But my target audience is actually nurses looking at breaking into opportunities beyond the bedside. So that is why you would see me say, if you're not looking at working in non-clinical role, right? So because I've identified my target audience, and yeah, so I'll go through that again. Define your brand identity. Who are you? So I already told you how to discover yourself. And then what do you want to be known for, right? So what niche are you considering? And then who is your target audience? And then when you've answered this question, it is now easy for you to now layer it onto the next approach I'm going to share. So that will be like a foundation for what you want to do. Then you need to start developing your brand content, right? So now you need to now clearly write down your purpose. So remember all these things. You can't just think about it and then forget about it. You have to write down, right? That's why journaling, meditation, and everything is very important. Because when you write down, you can easily go back to your why. Even on days where you feel like not showing up. I've had days when I don't feel like showing up, but what keep me going is my why. right? And I know that I've got people that are actually depending on me showing up for them to get the kind of transformation that they need, right? So what is your why? So write it down. Clearly write down your purpose, write down your objective. What do you intend to achieve? So for example, at North Skill of Academy, we are looking, I already told you, right? We are looking at building nurses and healthcare professionals who can monetize their skills and expertise to build thriving business ventures beyond the bedside, right? So what is your objective? How do you intend to achieve your objectives? So list down your action points, then and then your unique value proposition. What sets you apart from others? So, for example, there are a lot of people talking about not beyond the bedside, opportunities beyond the bedside. But what makes Mayowa distinct from these people? What makes North Skill of Academy distinct from these other people? What makes North Beyond the Bedside distinct from these other people? That would be my unique value proposition. And then your audience, I'm going back to your audience because more often time we tend to think about, yes, I want to solve this problem, and most time we forget about what our audience actually need, right? So you also have to be able to test that whatever it is that you want to do is actually what your audience needs, and not just what you're just making up. So remember when I said, oh, I want to start writing, and then I figured I can't just say, okay, I'm going to write. I need to niche down, right? So what do I think my audience need, right? So you have to ask, you can make market research, ask, and then thankfully the word has, like, tech has made the word easy today. You can easily put out a poll on LinkedIn, you can put out a poll on Instagram, I think on Twitter as well, to actually gather feedback from people. And if you don't ask, how would you know? And then you can also use platform websites on Google, for example, Google Analytics, and my Quora, I think, for example, Reddit, to actually has to find out what people are asking, and then see how you can tailor your solution to meet the need of people. So beyond knowing that you want to show up, you have to be able to deliver value to people, and that is when they gravitate towards you. So if you're thinking about anything you want to do, think value first. If you deliver value, people gravitate towards you. It is easy for you to actually help them get results. It is easy for you to even get feedback. And then the good thing about when you deliver value for people is when you get feedback, it becomes a more word of mouth thing. So you don't necessarily have to go through a lot of stress to sell. Right? Why do you think we will be able to pull such a large number into the North Skill of Academic community? Beyond, oh yeah, we've got the following on social media. If for people to actually deem me worthy or deem love or even not skill for now, by the way, we've got like over 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, right? For people to deem us fit of following, that means they've seen something in us that is worth their attention, right? So you need to be able to deliver value for people. Right. So beyond anything, think value, think value, think value, 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 value. Anything I'm going to do, I seek to offer solution and value to people, right? And then that is how you then craft how you can serve your audience. So I said for your content, you have to develop your clear purpose, objective, think about value, what your audience needs, your unique value proposition, and then your delivery. So now your content will now be, when I'm talking about content, I don't mean the content you put out on social media. So for example, if you I want to work with you people. So if you can give me examples in the comment, I feel like it kind of makes it easy to work with what you have in mind. So if you have something you are, for example, working on, building on, can you drop one of that so we can like give examples as we go on? So I feel like it's going to make it easy and relatable. All right. So yeah, it is beyond the content. This is not just this is not the content you're putting out on LinkedIn, right? So if I'm saying content, it means your delivery, your product, for example, your service, for example, right? So when I said I'm a nurse career strategist and I'm building the Nurse Skill Up Academy, what I also do is also coach nurses to move beyond the bedside. So I've got my own coaching resources, right? So if your client that is going to come to me now, I know I've got like what I would take you through to actually achieve your results. That is my content. So another thing I do is resume writing for nurses. That is a service I render to people. So how do I like package that to actually meet the need of my target audience. So do you get what I'm trying to say, right? So those are content. I do not mean the content you post on LinkedIn or Instagram, for example. So it is the how do I put it now? It is like the components of your delivery. So if you're saying that I'm going to offer healthcare solutions to people, for example, through health writing or bite-sized content, right? So how do you intend? So maybe this will now be your training materials, right? And then again, how you break those things into educational materials for patients, right? So those are your content. Those are the package, like the component rather, not the package, the components of your delivery that you package and give to your audience, right? So let me know if you're getting value, if you're following me. Is it too much for you to take in? Remember, I said this is a masterclass. It is, you're going to hear what you would normally not hear. And I actually do not like that the audience is getting cold. So let me know if you're following me in the chat box. Let me know if you're following me in the chat box. All right. So yeah, the next aspect is execution. Why did I actually put execution? Because again, it is good to actually put all these things down. But if you don't act on them, that's the end. You're not going to get results, right? So thank you all for confirming. But please drop what insights you're getting. Drop the things that are speaking to you as I speak. And if you're here for a reason, you're not just here to watch my beautiful face or listen to me talk. I know there's a reason why you've joined this call tonight. So drop what is on your mind, and then we can work with that as well. So execution, right? So beyond everything, you need to be able to take action. So you need the courage. I found and I think this is also going to speak to the fair, right? That you need that courage to actually show up, right? So it is one thing to think, yeah, I know I've got what it takes for me to actually show up. But it's another thing to have that courage, and that takes a mindset shift, right? So you need to shift your mindset from being just an ordinary person to being a solution provider, to seeing yourself as someone that is ready to deliver solution to people, to knowing that if I don't show up, these people might not get the answers that they want, right? And it doesn't matter that the field is saturated. It doesn't matter that someone else is doing what you're doing. Look around you, there is always people doing the same thing, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to thrive, right? So you have to think beyond all this to actually what take action. So take action, take action, take action. You need to take action on everything that you've put down, and then that is how you even get to see, oh, am I even doing the right thing, or how can I refine what I do? So for example, if we are one of the things we do at North Skill Up Academy is actually to ask, do a market research. What do our audience want? And we only provide solutions based on that, right? And do you know, we don't actually have to start breaking our head every time of on what we need to do to help our audience, because we can easily put out a poll and say, what do you want to learn from us? And then we only provide you what you want, right? It is as simple as that. But if you asked me a few years back, we would not have been able to do it, me personally. But that's why I said growth happens when you take action, isn't it? Right? So take action. When you take action, you see, oh, yeah, this thing will not actually work the way I think it will work. Why not do it this way? You can, and then again, when you see people doing that thing, it should be like a form of validation to say that yes, I can actually thrive in this particular thing. That is what it gives me. When I started out beyond the best thing on LinkedIn, I started looking out for people talking about this thing, not a lot of people. And when I saw few people, I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel validated. So yeah, and then again, it's also going and say, okay, how are they doing what they are doing? What can I use to actually tailor my own delivery for my people, right? So again, it's also like a form of research. So do not let fear stop you from taking action. Do not let fear stop you from doing what you're meant to do. Because again, think about the people that would be robbed of the opportunity to thrive and be transformed because you chose not to take action. So execution, you need audacity to show up and you take action. So are you getting value? Yes. Market research. Clarity comes with action. Yes, clarity comes with action. I can tell you for a fact that clarity comes with action. All right. So that is about brand identity. So remember, we are talking about the three framework, IBM framework: brand identity, brand building, and brand marketing. Of course, I'm trying to make this as not as too. I don't want to go in depth, because I feel like I should not just unload you with a lot of information, but it's something, just something like it should be enough for you to actually leave this call tonight and then take action. Thank you. So don't let fear stop you from taking action. Yes. And doing market research helps you to know the problem out there and helps you to know what solutions to provide. Yeah, it's as simple as going to online and then asking Google those questions that are like aligned to what you want to do. So for example, if you want to, that's why I keep saying, please put one thing in the chat. I feel like it's going to help me answer your questions, because I just keep going back to this and I feel like it's going to help you. So let's, for example, you're looking at building like a fitness brand, like that speaks to dieting, right? It's as simple as, what do audience search for related to diet to lose weight? And then you see a lot of feedback, and then from those feedback from Google, you can start refining your questions to see what people actually want, what do they search for. And then even while typing, you will even see some of those things that Google will recommend for you. Those are how you can also do your research. So those questions are what people are actually looking up for every time, right? So yeah. So for brand identity, I talked about knowing yourself, who you are, knowing what you want to be known for, and who your audience is. So now, brand building, and I feel like a lot of people jump this initial brand identity phase and then go straight ahead into brand building, and that is where a lot of people get confused, right? So brand building is when you now sit down with everything you've listed and you've written down, and then you now start working on it, right? So now you know that you've gotten your objective, you've gotten your goal, your purpose, your niche, your audience, everything. Now, how do you start showing up for people to know you, right? So nobody's going to, there's a time I want to say, nobody's gonna know if you don't tell them who you are, right? So this is where brand awareness comes in, right? So you need to show yourself that you are a go-to person for this thing. It's just like if you want to for example, start a business in your area. For example, if you sell snacks, and you have to tell people, I'm going to start selling snacks, so come and patronize me. It's not what we do. Like, it's just like a simple example of what we do, right? Yeah. So without telling people, how are they going to know that you sell snacks? Or without even showing up, maybe in front of your house, or maybe renting a shop, how are they going to know that you sell snacks? So this is when you have to show up to tell people about the work that you do. And social media is a tool to do that. So remember, I said social media is a what? Is a tool to do that. So that is why I said brand building is beyond social media. It is beyond showing or posting content, or maybe Instagram dancing and vibing to music or joining trends. It is beyond all that. So when you have been able to identify why you show up and why you do what you do, it is easy for you to now organize your content or social media feed to talk or speak to what you do. Right. So what do you want people to identify you with online, right? So is it a brand they remember, right? So, or well, you just say, when I see this person, I'm just going to scroll past, right? And then your brand voice. So your brand voice is the way you speak to your audience online, right? And then another thing that I feel like that I also not feel like, another thing I want to share is that the know, like, trust factor. This is what brand building does. For people get to know you. When they know you, they like you, and then they trust you to part with, for example, with their money, and then pay for your services. But a lot of people want to even they want to jump the process. They want to jump brand building, brand identity, brand building, and then go into brand marketing. That's how you see that you post ads, or you market or publicize your products, and nobody's buying because they don't know you enough to like you and then trust you to part with their money. But just imagine what showing up consistently for the next remaining months in this year would do for your brand. Maybe just use a platform, LinkedIn, for example. Imagine what showing up consistently would do for your brand. we've seen results. Like with the results we've been able to get as a brand, we've also been able to also get others have been able to get those results by the reason of association with you. I've had feedback from, maybe I'll just host webinar and then people come back and tell me, oh my God, thank you, I've gotten a lot of visibility from this webinar I did, collaborated with you on, right? So that's because they are riding on the influence that my brand has, right? They are riding on the visibility that our brand has. So people need to know you, like you, and then trust you to be able to part with your money. And then again, another thing brand building does for you is organic growth, right? So you grow, you don't have to start paying for ads, right? It's just like a very low hanging fruit. So imagine just having to pay off. Of course, there's a place of ads, right? But what if you don't actually have to start with ads? And then you're just doing work and getting results without having, now for you to be here on this webinar is because you've interacted with our content on LinkedIn, or maybe whoever has shared our content, and you feel like, oh yeah, I think I need what these people are offering, let me go, right? So it comes from awareness. If we don't show up, how are you going to know what we are offering to you? So when you build awareness, then you can now package your content. Remember the content I shared under brand identity, you can package it if needed. For example, if there are a lot of regulatory framework around it, then you can register it, promote it, and then protect. So also protect your intellectual property, because people are out there to steal what you've got to offer. So you also got to protect it. And then of course, when you're in the place of brand building, you also have storytelling to build authenticity, right? So when you tell your story, people can relate with you, they can connect with you, they form a form of emotional connection, and then they want to be remembered. So now I want us to do like a form of mini activity. If I'm talking about storytelling, who comes to mind online? Who comes to mind when we are talking about storytelling? Like they've been able to leverage storytelling to build a reputation online. Aproko Doctor, thank you. There's one particular name I'm looking for, or maybe two. Aproko Doctor, see just Aproko Doctor. Tauma, yes. There's another person. If I'm talking about storytelling, I'm not talking about Erica Gugwa, yes. There's a particular that I've been able to ride on the wave of that storytelling to actually build a reputation and then get people to see what they are doing. Few more responses. Celebrating us, Esther, okay? Dr. Christopher, no. I'm actually looking for Tunde Onokoya. That's what I'm looking for. Right, so let me know, right? So he has a way with storytelling, and most time I read the story, I'm inspired to take action. I'm like, I want to see what they're doing, right? And then you also even want to support. Now you see people supporting is Chess Academy, right? Another person is Tony Enumelu, right? He's been able to tell a story about how he's helping business owners, small businesses in Africa, grow and scale, right? Another example that just came to mind is also Oton Orondam. I'm not sure if I get the right name, the pronunciation. It's also like so Tunde Onakoya is chess is no, and Auto is like a form of school for people in slum area as well. If you read these people content, they know how to weave words to connect to people's emotion, and then you feel connected with what they're sharing. You're compelled to want to give to their cause. You feel inspired to even do amazing things within the social impact space, right? There are a lot of people, and this is how storytelling can help you as a brand. But remember, this is a tool, right? If you have not actually developed the initial phase, you would not be able to know how to tell your story to connect with people, right? So and then another thing is audience engagement. So when you tell your story, when you show up online, when you create awareness about your brand, people engage with you. So you need to be able to keep that engagement so that people know that you're interested in them. And then again, brand perception, how people perceive you. It is one thing to tell them that this is what you do. It is another thing for them to know that this is what this person is all about. So your brand perception should actually match up with what you tell them about yourself. So when people say, oh yeah, this is this person, it should match up with what you're telling them, right? And you create this through influence, thought leadership, the value you create to people, and then impact as well. Right. And of course, consistency is a tool in your brand building. You need to be consistent. If you want people to remember you, you need to stay the course, right? So it's not like you're going to post today and after 2 months you're coming back to post again, or you're going to tell people to subscribe to your service and after 2 months you're gone, we can't find you. And then it's when you have another product that you want to say, that's when we see you online. It doesn't work that way, right? So consistency is it. So what happens? Why do you think people keep showing up every day? Because there's also that law of familiarity, and because even in internet is saturated these days, right? And because it is as saturated, it is easy for people to forget. So you need to keep showing up in people's faces. That's why you see people going to great extents just to leverage on people's attention to be able to get the results that they want. So consistency as it is. So now remember I said logo, color, and everything is not branding, but they are elements of branding. So to also be able to stay in people's mind, people need to be able to recognize you with certain elements of branding. So if you go, for example, on No Skill Up Academy page, you can see our logo, you can see our color, you can see certain images we use. If you go on my platform, you will see my color, my image, my picture, right? Those are like elements of branding. So it is your visual identity, the logo, what you want people to associate with you, the color you want people to associate with you, the type of font, type of graphic. And then there's when you're doing this, there needs to be consistency in design and packaging. That is why whenever you see No Skill Up design, you always see a particular color, right, and a particular logo. That's when you see my design, or maybe for example love design, you will always see a particular logo, a particular color. That is branding, elements of branding. It is telling you that, oh yeah, when I see this color, I know who this person is. Or when I see this color, I know it's just like iPhone. When you see this logo, you know that, oh, iPhone. When you see Coca-Cola, red color, and then the logo, you know that, yeah, this is Coca-Cola. So it's just like bringing your brand to the mind of people without having to like tell them a lot about what you do. And again, also the power of networking is also a way of building your brand, right? So remember when I said I traveled and then because they could scan my QR code and they found that, oh, this is what I do, connected with me on LinkedIn. I've been able to build my network. And of course, beyond building network online, there's also that place of connecting with people offline, right? Because most time the next job opportunities that you're looking for is just it's just with someone sitting beside you in that conference you refuse to attend. So go for offline events. That's just what I'm trying to say, right? So, and that's the thing, like for example, I got my job, the recent job I said I got, right, just from connections, right? So, and I don't have to start actively searching for those job opportunities. So just imagine what that. So it means you are leveraging on relationship as a capital to grow. And then so consider digital and offline networking opportunities. And then when you go for this, share your brand, tell people about what you do, not just shy away, right? Oh, hello, hi, I'm so and so person, I am a nurse career strategist, I do this, I do that, but this is what we intend to do. And of course, if you're looking at partnering with people, you get to talk with them, see how they can support you, how you can collaborate, even build your brand and then, grow, right? So that is how you build your brand. And then now to the final phase is the brand marketing. Brand marketing is how you promote your products and services to your audience. So remember I said you cannot jump this first two step and then go into the third, because that's when you now start that cycle of frustration. Am I speaking to someone? Hallelujah. So if you want to end the cycle of frustration in your life tonight, you need to not jump to the third. So don't jump process, right? So stay the process, do the hard work, and then the result comes in, right? So it's when you know what you're doing and why you're doing what you do and who you're serving, it is easy for you to like, yes, glory. Thank you. It's only Buku that is matching my energy, right? So it is easy for you to get feedback from people. What do you think? We get feedback, right? And then again, of course, I speak to you have to ask people for feedback. Or it's not like they will normally just dash you feedback. You have to ask for it, which is okay, right? But if you don't even offer value for them, would they give them your feedback? Would they give you feedback? No, right? So that's why you at times. So just imagine if you want to order a product online, what do you do? Particularly for me, I go through the product review, because I don't want the issue of what I ordered versus what I got, right? So yeah, it's just like, yeah, if you're going to say, okay, I want to do this, I need to be able to know that this thing is worth my time, my attention, my energy, my money, right? Am I wasting my resources, or I will get the results that I want, right? So yes, that is where brand marketing, you have to show people that, yes, so I am the only best thing that is available in the world to give you the results that you want. Any other thing is a counterfeit. It's as simple as that. If you don't show people that you are the only one that can give them the results they want, they're not going to buy from you, right? And then you need to show up, tell them, show them, ask them to buy, right? If you don't ask them to take action, they're not going to. Then when you market your product, you generate qualified lead, and then those leads, now you can convert them depending on what you are intending to achieve. Again, when you are talking about brand marketing, don't think that money is the only result that you get. I used to think, of course, I still feel that way. I have to intentionally remind myself that the result I get from showing up and then marketing my brand to people is not just money, right? The visibility, the collaboration, the speaking engagements, all these things are the results you get, for showing up, right? I already mentioned it. But beyond this income, right, you can make money from just building your brand, depending on what service or product you're doing. So that is why when you see another person post on LinkedIn tomorrow, I say, I just won or I just got a client that is paying me $10,000, you will not say, they started again, right? Because you know that when you are also doing the right things, it's easy for you to say, yeah, I've also landed a client that is paying me $100,000. Amen, right? So yeah, so you don't jump processes, but you also need to be able to show up to sell to people that you are the go-to person. So that is why you don't just show up just for the sake of it, or just for the sake of posting without knowing why you're doing what you do, right? So if that's the only thing, just go and sleep. Or let me not discourage you. I know, like I said, it takes time, right? And it is good to also show, because you build that reputation. But you start thinking of, what do I need to do? You don't have to have everything figured out. It could be maybe, you're so good at organizing things, you can become a virtual assistant for people, or you're so good at writing, become a content writing, or maybe a social media manager for someone, right? And then remember, yeah, I just remember something I said I was going to touch that I did not touch. So I'm going to go into that shortly, right? So when you market your brand, you get qualified leads, you get income generation, and then this could be short term or long term, depending on what your goal is. So, for example, short term would be, we are promoting this telehealth webinar, right, for people who are interested into breaking into that space. That is like a short term goal for No Skill Up Academy. Excuse me, we've got long term goals, right? So don't be afraid to sell. Don't be afraid to ask people to buy what you have to say. Then again, what people don't tell you is that you need to learn a lot of things, except you're going to hire a copywriter. But if you feel like you've not got what it takes to hire a copywriter, you need to learn how to sell, because selling, it goes beyond just posting online. You have to learn the copywriting strategies to convert your audience, because let me not lie to you, people will not just buy for you just because you have that number. So that is why I said your virality, in as much as it is great, it's not going to get you the result that you want if you don't convert your audience, right? So if you don't know how to sell to your audience, you just say that you have 100,000 followers on LinkedIn and nobody's buying from you. Whereas you can have 100 followers on LinkedIn or Instagram and you have people, returning customers even, right? So sales strategy is very, very important, right? So that's why you do your market research, know what people want, what value you're offering to them, how you intend to deliver that value, and show them, yeah, we are intend to give you these results, and then sell. You have to learn, right? So if you're talking about, oh yeah, for example, content writing, if you don't know how to write content, you need to learn how to, because otherwise hire someone that can write your content, right? Because you cannot just show up anyhow. That's also another thing I need to address. You can't say, because yes, I know I've got what it takes, and then you're going to show up. If you ask most of people that are showing up online, they've had to work on themselves, they've had to take courses, build their skills, do things, right? And then yeah, so you have to be willing to invest yourself. If you don't know how to write, take content writing class. And the good thing is, No Skill Up Academy has got you. Just say to yourself, No Skill Up Academy has got me. So we have resources. We have our boot camp coming up, where we also, like, if you're looking at learning some of these skills, for example, graphics design, video editing, content writing, copywriting, LinkedIn visibility course, social media management, and you get all this package in one. for our next coming upcoming bootcamp. Say, yeah. So we've got you. So why did I say this? Is that you need to be able to show people that you're a person of value and not just show up anyhow, right? So I'm very sure you see some people's content like, what's this person saying? And then you scroll up and then there are some content you sit with, you're even analyzing every bit of it. Yeah, I love the energy. Yes, no skill of academia has got you. So don't show up anyhow. So don't just think, oh yeah, I just need to show up so that they will know that I'm doing something. No, you have to be able to show up with like with value. When people think of, oh, this person, they know that I'm getting nothing but value, right? So yeah. So I want to touch on the palm tree analogy. And you know that you don't actually need to like start thinking of what can I do. For example, I think I should have added this under brand identity. If you are looking at what product or service you need to offer to people, so just think of palm tree. If you're talking about palm tree, what do you think you can get from palm tree? I used to like give this example a lot. So can you drop that in the chat box? We are almost done. We are almost done. I intend not to take your time too much. So we are almost done. And I love that you all stayed with me almost till the end. So if you're thinking about palm tree, so let me know what product do you get from palm tree? What product do you get from palm tree? Palm oil, yes. Broomsticks, yeah. Palm oil, broom, palm wine, yes. Oil. What else? Broomstick, palm wine, a lot. I keep saying broomstick. Oh, all this one is broom, palm wine, oil. Is it that you people like palm wine like this, palm kernel? Yes, firewood, okay. Broom. So you get a lot of things. You can get baskets, isn't it? If people with, the leaf of palm tree to make baskets. They make a lot of fancy, this ant fan, those traditional ant fan also can be from yes, ant fan. What else? So just imagine just one tree and you're getting this much. Palm kernel, you've got palm oil, palm kernel oil, right? You can even use the shaft of that palm kernel, right, to cook, right? If you're cooking like with firewood, you can cook with that, yeah. And then you get the palm kernel itself. So someone said, yes, it's a lifetime investment. So if you're thinking about yourself from now henceforth, just think about palm tree and then use yourself as that. So what skills do you have and how can you monetize? Let me not use the word monetize. What products or services can stem from the skills you have? So I'm going to give you an example. Writing. If I'm going to leverage on my writing skills, what can I do from it? I want you to list the example before I even say what is on my mind. So what do you think? What are the ways I can monetize my writing skills? Yes, palm tree is a lifetime investment. I know, right? So if I'm looking at monetizing my writing skills, what are the ways I can do that? So let me know. Our time is fast spent. Yes, I can write projects, I can get paid, yes. Work as a health writer, yes. Copywriting, write for health brands, health organization. Yeah, so just from one skills, right? I can choose to like start a writing academy for nurses, for example, start a YouTube channel, monetize my YouTube channel, right? I can start writing content for people. I can offer maybe for kids, writing classes for kids, go to organization, teach nurses how to put out content, do a lot of things, right? I can write a book, publish that book, and then get income from that, right? Just from writing. So see from that henceforth, see that skills instead of thinking of jumping from one thing to the other. See that skills that you've got has like a palm tree, right? What ventures can you get from that to get the result that you want? Right. And then I already mentioned feedback. So do not be afraid to ask people for feedback. So feedback is also a way you sell your reputation to people without actually selling. So just posting your feedback, for example, online, boost your reputation without having to say, oh yeah, I get you these results. When people see what this person has said about you, they know that yes, you are the go-to person and all this. And of course, I would not finish with this without saying that the God factor, do not put God on the side in everything that you do, because beyond everything is the one that gives you wisdom to actually enter a city. Is the one that gives you the language that your people need, and is the one that gives you direction to get results, right? So how do you build your personal brand? Just to cover, like, go through this again: define your brand identity, craft your brand message and story. So I believe that from what I've shared, you already know what all this mean, right? Choose and optimize. So what platform do you intend to show up, like, for people to get results, and then show up and add value and build and nurture your network. All right. So remember, like I said, don't show up anyhow. So before I even go up to the final part of this, right? So we talked about today. So far, we've seen what branding is, what is personal branding. We looked at common myths that stop people from taking action online, why nurses need to build a brand, and then the magnetic framework, that is the IBM framework, which is identity, building, and marketing. And then now we're looking at the mindset shift. So number one is that you have to think that you can learn anything. So don't think, oh, because I don't know how to do this, I'm not able to show up. You can learn anything as adults. You are not too old or too young to learn anything. And learning is continuous. The day you stop learning is the day you die. So think about mental transformation. That will impact the kind of results you help your audience to get, right? And then always think that you are a brand first. Before you even put it out yourself, right? People should be able to see you and interact with you offline and then say that, yes, this is a person of value. So you're a brand first before the brand you're building. And then start somewhere, start small. Don't wait to feel ready before you start. Don't think, oh, I need to have all this before I can start putting out that content or posting on YouTube, for example. Start somewhere, right? You grow along the way. So one popular example I normally keep to mind is Hallelujah Challenge. If you follow Hallelujah Challenge, see how Hallelujah Challenge started, see how where it's grown to, right? So that's just to tell you that when you stay the course, you get results and then you grow, right? And then you can't be for everyone. Again, speaking to niche, that your audience cannot be everyone. If you think your audience is everyone, then I'm so sorry to tell you that you don't know what you're doing yet, right? Your audience cannot be everyone. So you have to know who you're serving, right? And it takes time to build a brand. Things takes time. So if you're looking at people that are getting results, oftentimes when they tell you, that they didn't start yesterday, not 1 year, not 2 years, some of them 10 years, right? So good things take time. But the difference in the next 3 to 5 years is whether you dare to start or you do not dare to start, right? And then I'm going to end with this quote: "The worst mistake in life are made when you try to do fast what is meant to be done slow." Real durable things take a long time to build. Careers, businesses, relationships, health, every other thing that you can think of have no hack or shortcut. The long way is the right way. So if you want to get the result that you want, you have to be willing to stay the process. And with this, we end our session for tonight. So let me know, have you got value so far? Do you think you've got what it takes to actually start showing up online? So yeah, let me know in the comment section. What are you feeling? How is it going through you? What is going through your mind? And it's got a lot of value. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ibukun, for that awesome feedback. Like I said, this is a masterclass. I do not want to actually like bore you, but I feel like these are important things I need to address, particularly if you've got people that need um clarity to start. Thank you. Very insightful. Thank you so much for your feedback. If you've got questions, please drop them in the chat box and then we will take the questions. Thank you. Kende says, I have more clarity now. This is good to know. Beyond anything, this gives me joy. Gives me joy to know that you've got clarity now. All right. Any more? Okay, if we don't have any question yet, I'm just going to hand over to Love or Goodness.
Wow. Thank you so much. I don't know. I think I'm not the only one feeling this way. This has been very insightful. I mean, pure gold. Thank you so much, Master Mario, wow, for this session. I believe we were all taking notes too, because you would have to go back to these things, reminisce on them, and feed on them. Make sure you start from the beginning to the very last, right? Because remember, we don't skip processes here. The long way is the better way and the best way. Thank you so much for pouring richly into us, Nosmayowa. I want to know, let's talk, Nurses. What stood out for you? What was that very word that kept hitting you and you felt like, oh, this is for me? Please, let's type in the comment section, or you can as well unmute. Okay, no, there's no room for unmuting. Let's type in the comment section. What really stood out for you? What was that line that hit home? Please, let's respond. Oh, thank you very much. You said I'm motivated. I'm motivated as well. We are all motivated. We are motivated. We just hope and pray that we don't let fear stop us from taking action. Thank you so much, Nurse Mayowa. Okay, Nurse Tessie said taking action. Yes, that really stood out for me too, because tell me, we have a lot of ideas sitting pretty in our head, but no one is taking action, and that's the major problem. So that line stood out for me as well. Do not let fear stop you from taking action. Let's bring it on. What else stood out for you? Okay. Nosgani, you said, I took home that I have everything to start. Yes, we have everything to start. Don't let those subtle voices speaking in your head telling you, oh, I need one more certification. Oh, I need to attend one more class. Oh, I need to, sometimes when you come up and want to do something, a voice is something telling you, I don't have this certification, I don't have that certification. We have everything to start. Being a human is everything to start. So we start from there. Let's bring it on, please. What stood out for you? Okay, Nosgani, you said, I don't need to have a title to lead. Very, very important. It's one thing holding people down. When I started out after the North Lock Academy, the first batch, I wanted to build a brand for women, and I was feeling I needed more certification and all. I went online, just like Nosman was talking about making research. I went online and I found out that there are a lot of people who are not even nurses putting out health advice, putting out nutrition advice. They're not even nutritionists, which means they don't even have the title, they don't even have the certification, but they started and they are pulling off grounds. So why won't you? We don't need a title, we don't need a certification. You are enough. You start. The only thing is you have to keep upgrading as you're going. Make sure you secure those things that gives you credibility. Let's bring it on. Noshini said, thinking you can do fast what you need to do slow. Yes. That line also stood out. We should take our time, not don't skip processes. And also, in the bid not to skip processes, we should not be too slow and sleep on our ideas as well.
Mhm.
Let's keep bringing it on. Oh, Nurse Rukaya says showing up with purpose, very important. Nurse Mayawa kept handling it. She kept speaking on this one that we need to show up. Sorry. That we need to show up. We need to show up with purpose. And the only way to show up with purpose, she said, is that you have to discover yourself. I think she mentioned some personality texts we can take and the links to them as well. We should work. Personally, I've taken one on, I can't remember the site, but it was a personality test as well, and it helped me gain more clarity. So when you know yourself, at least you know the purpose and what you show up with. Let's keep bringing it on. Okay, I think we've gotten plenty responses and feedbacks. It shows that we're all listening and everyone is going home with something. I want to really appreciate everyone who joined in. Please, are there any questions? You can type your questions in the comment section in the chat box. Those questions sitting in your head, please let's ask now so that Nosmaiwa can handle them. I'm waiting for our responses. Do you have any question concerning niching down? Remember, she said if you're speaking to everyone and you're speaking to no one, you need to have an audience. And I remember someone typed, that is to say that you have something to say about that. So please let's talk about that as well. The person that typed, I think it was Nosi Bukun. If you have a question concerning that, bring it on. Any other question you have as well, let's tackle it now, because after now you may send a DM and it will take time to be responded to. As she said, this is a masterclass, so let's tackle it now. Ask your questions. You gain more clarity from asking those questions. Remember, clarity comes with action. Yes, go ahead and ask your question, Nosganiyu. Clarity comes with action. And taking action starts with asking your questions already. There are questions sitting pretty in our head. Let's bring it on. Ask those questions. It's part of taking action. So while we wait for the questions, I think Nosganiyu is typing. While we wait for the questions, remember our framework for today is IBM, brand identity, brand building, and brand marketing. Basically, these three things. And we're told not to skip any process. Okay, I think a question just came in. It says, is it possible for someone's niche in health writing to be the general public? You're talking about niche or your audience?
I think she meant, yeah, audience.
Yeah, no, smile while you can take it up from there.
Yeah, so before I do that, Gani is saying he wants to speak. If you raise your hand, it's easy for us to ask you to unmute. So raise your hand and then we can ask you to unmute. Is it possible for someone's niche in health writing to be the general public? Again, when you're talking about health writing, what aspect of health writing are you looking into? So just think about health. I believe you are a nurse, right? We have different as just as how you have your different systems in your body, right? You have the nervous system, digestive system, the nerve system. If you're looking at, for example, writing on chronic health conditions, maybe yeah, you can talk to people with those. But now that I mentioned chronic health conditions, right, that is also a particular audience, people with chronic diseases, right? Again, health writing is also there's also the promotional part of health, right? You're just asking writing content to help people promote their health and prevent diseases, right? So that's also a group of audience. So it might not necessarily be the general public, but it will be people that are in the category of people that actually need the results, or maybe they need information to help them build good health practices, for example, right? So for if you're talking health writing, we have organizations that write about, for example, fertility, they write about reproductive health and all. So at times what they look for is that your past results of being able to write content from for other brands, other blogs, and then get them results. Because beyond writing, they also want you to know, they also want to see the analytics, the back end result, right? To see that people are reading the content on their blog, the SEO conversion, and stuff like that. So it might not necessarily be the general public, but it would be people that actually need that solution that you're offering to your writing. So let me know if that answers your question. All right, so yeah, over to Nosgaliyo.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mayowa, for your class. I've been looking forward to this. And I'm very grateful for it. So I don't want to take too much of our time, and I'll go straight to my questions. Okay, for me, sorry, that account is for my husband. So
Okay.
I'm Olariwa.
Okay.
So I'm Olariwa. Right. I'm a nursing mother, and I'm an intern nurse. So for me, time is a lot of constraints. So I don't know how to work about it, how to go about it. Sorry. I'd rather say that I try to explore means of employing other people to do things for me. I mean, social media strategies and all of that. But I realize that it is capital intensive.
Yeah.
I mean, to pay for. So how do I navigate that? That's one. Then I have a lot of options to pick from. I where you were mentioning some things that was really resonating with me. I mean, there was this part of what do people know you for? What can you keep doing? I can keep talking. I know that. So these are things that I'd gone through, and then I see that I have like three things that I really want to key into with my niche specified. But how do I? What do I do? Do I pick one first and work on the others later? Do I do the three at the same time? I mean, you get that? That's secondly. Then thirdly, how do I leverage on them to make money? How quick can it be to earn with it? Practically, I need money. So aside giving value, I know that all these things that we need to like give value, keep on putting content out there, answering people's questions, but how do I turn them to money? For instance, now I want to go into mentorship, coaching that you're mentioning, especially for new generation of nurses trying to find a way out of should I do nursing? Is nursing for me? Things like that. But then how do I convert that into a consultation? I mean, so I think I really need your help there. Then lastly, you were mentioning things about going viral, LinkedIn. I hate writing. I don't know how to put that. I detest writing. So I prefer to speak. So how do I navigate that? Such that I'll be able to grow my pages. I mean, even if it is LinkedIn, Facebook, any platform I want to niche into, how do I navigate the right part? Thank you so much.
All right, that seems like a lot of questions, but I'll try. If I forget, then you just remind me. So the first part of there is no time on your hand. You're a mother. You are doing your internship, and how do you navigate that part? So practically, you have to learn to start. I think that was I said I was going to talk about it, but I ended up like forgetting about it again. You have to start to learn delegation earlier on. I think one of the things that did not help me when I started, I was thinking I can do everything on my own. So if I want to design, I design on my own. If I want to write, I write on my own and all. Then, like I said, I moved here and then I realized I would not actually be able to show up the way I would want to if I don't, like, ask people to come and help me, right? So, for example, No Skill Up Academy, we've got our own team. Goodness is one of our team, right? And then shout out to Goodness. She's one of our first cohort member from No Skill Up Bootcamp, our first ever edition. So just imagine the amazing things she's now doing, right? Which is why you need to join our next bootcamp. So that aside, you have to learn delegation earlier. And of course, it is capital intensive. But what you can do along the line of capital thing is that um, you can number one look for people that are just starting out building their skills, right, and they can get you the results that you want, that you can pay them for the service they render, but you don't have to pay as much as someone that is already like top of their thing, they know what they're doing and all, because in a way you just want the results and then you want to show up. So that's one way to go about it. Number two, there are people looking for how to build their experiences through volunteering, right? So you can call for volunteers for what you do. Right. So when you're thinking about volunteering, you're not thinking about using this person, right, to get your own results. It is a mutually beneficial thing, right? So call out for volunteer if they are willing to come on board to help you, for example, to manage your social media account, they grow their portfolio, right? And then you also get something in return. So remember, this is also a way of contributing to skills building in the community, right? Because through you, people can leverage on your platform to grow their skills, get results, and then also start making money. So those are the ways you can think about it. But you also have to start thinking that if I'm going to be able to show up the way I want, then I need to be willing to make certain sacrifices. So that might mean that if you're maybe, for example, volunteering did not work, being able to pay someone to work for you will not work, then you can start thinking, how can you arrange my timing to help me show up. Maybe I will not be able to show up every day on LinkedIn. Can I do like 3 days or 2 days in a week, and people know that every these 2 days they always see me on LinkedIn and I show up with value, right? So it could be maybe your off days. And then another thing you can do is maybe create a day like every week or every 2 weeks or in a month to batch create your content. So you have like content ready for like the next 2 to 3 weeks. So you are not just thinking every day, what do I need to post? What do I need to post? Right. So batch create your content. And then LinkedIn has the feature of scheduling. If you're using LinkedIn, I believe YouTube does, every platform does nowadays, right? So you can schedule your content to go live when on those days. And then you can choose a timing for posting. So let's say every morning, 5 a.m., you're always free in a way. Maybe you have like 30 minutes to spare, right? You can show up, post your content, engage before and after for 15 minutes, for example. Of course, you need more, you need to do more, but if you're looking for practical way to make things work, right? So schedule your content, engage with them so that you don't just post and then ghost, right? So schedule your content. You know that you already have your content ready, it's already scheduled. What you need to do is just show up, engage with people, connect with people, and then grow your, and then after that grow up. That kind of thing might take time, but it is better than not doing anything at all. And then of course when you start monetizing, then you can now maybe say, okay, I can pay for someone to start working for me. Then it's good, right, for you. But in a way, you're not just sitting down without doing anything. Right. So again, another thing I say is prioritizing. So you have to know what you need to put your attention to per time. Right. There are times where genuinely you have to like step back online. I've done it several times, right? Because I believe beyond showing up online, you also have to be able to show results in other area of your life, right? So there are times where I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing. I just needed that clarity. And you will often see me posting that on LinkedIn. So I can go for like 1 month and then just to take a break and then re-strategize, come back. Or it might not even be to re-strategize. I just wanted to take a break, just not do anything and then come back. So there are times where you genuinely might need to like step back to retreat or something, which is good, but know what you're doing and why you're taking a step back and then when you will need to like come back as well. I hope that answers that question. And I think the second question you mentioned is, oh, you've got a lot of things you're doing. How do you like combine everything together? I wanted to ask that what are those things? Are they things that are like related? Are they similar? If yes, then it is easy for you to actually merge those things together. If not, what you can do is highlight on your profile clearly this and this and this are what I do, right? So and then it is easy for you to today maybe talk about this thing and then tomorrow talk about this thing and then next tomorrow talk about this thing. So for example, I say I'm a nurse career strategist and I'm building the Nurse Skill Up Academy, right? So as a nurse career strategist, I have my offering apart from Nurse Skill Up Academy. And so what I do is if I want to speak to my audience for my Beyond the Bedside coaching, I tailor my content to that particular audience. If I'm speaking to audience that would need what we have to offer from No Skill Up Academy, I tailor my content to that particular audience. So that is when you will see me often mention No Skill Up Academy in my post, right? That's because I'm letting you know that this is something we are working on. This is what we can help you achieve. So that we are, even though it is the same platform, I don't have to like necessarily create two different of course we've got a LinkedIn page, right, for No Skill Up Academy. That's because it is like a company page, which is essential, right? But that way we've been able to drive publicity from our own personal account to our LinkedIn page. I hope that helps. So let's say it's not something that is even related. You can easily let people know that this is introduce yourself. I'm multiversatile. This is what I do. Another example that is coming to mind, if you know DDK, Debola Deji, for example, she's my role model, right? She has a lot of what's it called now? Expressions. So she's into ministry. She's a transformational catalyst coach. She sits on board as an advocate, board of advocacy and all those. And then she's also got the social impact of the work that she does, right? And then there's a way she actually carry everybody along. So, for example, if she has offering for people in the social impact page, she simply talks about it. If she has like offering for people within the ministry space, she talks about it. And of course, she has to now create different for example, this is an account dedicated to that. This is another account dedicated to that, and different account has different board members and stuff like that. But she's still able to like through her personal platform promotes all these expressions. I hope that clears your doubt. And how do you monetize? I can't remember the other question. So if you can type in the comment to help me. So how do you monetize to start getting action, right? So like I said, if you need to monetize what you want to do, you need to be able to show people that this is what they actually need. Right. If you can't show them, then they will not buy from you. And again, remember I said if you don't tell people to buy from you, they will not. I used to think that, oh, because I'm so good at this thing, money will automatically come. But I learned the hard way that I need to learn how to sell. So I have to learn to write copyright, right? So that's because there's a way you can craft your offer that will compel people to buy from you, right? So that is why I said you need to learn some of these skills, and no skill of academy again has got you, right? So if you don't know how to do these things, it will be very difficult for you to sell to people. But beyond being able to sell, but do you have what it takes to actually say, okay, yes, this is the solution I want to, as I said, yes, I want to speak to nurses and all. How can you start? Work on the content of your delivery. What is the service? Are you okay? Your coaching service, what is the framework you're going to use for coaching people? How do you intend to get clients? So using myself as an example, you can do like a so there's a way you can do lead generation. And so phases of marketing. I'm not a marketing person. I feel like Love would be able to answer this question better than me, but using my experience, there's um lead generation, there's lead nurturing, and then there's lead conversion. So if you're talking about lead generation, you have to first be able to get the audience to know you, right? So lead generation is, for example, I want people to know about my coaching program, is the content I put out. So I say, if you're looking at breaking into this space, use the link in my bio to book a one-to-one clarity call for 30 minutes. So it is free, right? So that is a form of lead generation. It means I am looking at people, I'm filtering people that actually need the solution that I have to offer. So they come to me, right? And then when they come to me, we speak, I see what they want, and then how we can work further. So how do I nurture them? After that initial phase, then I can start, sending them a follow-up email, through my content on LinkedIn and then every other platform that I have to nurture these people. You actually the process of lead generation to lead conversion is like a series of process. It doesn't happen automatically. There are people that have joined our community from the first time that we started that have not even registered for any of our program yet. That's because they are still in that lead nurturing phase. They need to know that, oh, these people are actually bankable to pass my money. And there are people where they just need to see one few of our content and say, yes, these people will get me the results, and then they register. Right. So different people has different processes, and you can't even tell that, oh, this is what we make this person buy from me. But you have to have systems in place to actually convert those people. So for example, another example of lead, you can read up this, like, how do you generate leads for your business? Maybe put out a freebie. So like a PDF for nurses on the audience you're looking at helping, put out a freebie for them, and then that way you get their details, their email, then you can nurture them. And then your profile asks people to follow you, you get leads, and then when you post, there is also when you're this is like beyond this. Maybe we'll just do another session on content marketing. I've actually had it in mind. And with this question, I feel like it's something we need to work on how to, content marketing. So beyond posting, as I said, it is beyond just posting online. So there's also, content marketing, right? So there's a funnel your audience go through, right? So you need to like the audience who are just at the top of your funnel, they're just meeting you, they don't know a lot about you, but they feel like you've got what it takes. The audience that are in the middle of your funnel, they've interacted, maybe buy a few of your resources, and they're still there. There are some that are at the bottom, they've been able to get the results, and then they're still like returning customer. So you need to be able to tailor your content to meet the needs of these people, this category of people. So you are not just always speaking to people at the bottom of the funnel or just the middle. You need to be able to interact with this category of people. This is beyond what we can cover tonight, right? So if you're looking at how to sell, this is one strategy. Put out a freebie. For example, host a webinar, ask people to come for free, and then from there you can sell your services to them, or write an ebook like a guide, and then ask for their emails. Upsell, you can upsell, so you can cross sell, you can upsell, you can mix whatever services that you have to. So that's why I said brand building is more than just showing up. There's a lot of work you need to do on the ground. There's a lot of learning you need to to do, and that is how you get results. So when you see people getting results, what you should be asking is, what are they doing that is getting them the result that they want? I hope I've been able to answer your question. Our time is fast spent, so I don't want to like go into like extend this for too long. But if this is like a question on the mind of people, we can always like work on other things along the line of content marketing. I feel like there's one more question I'm missing. Yeah, so I can't remember the other one, but if you can type it, otherwise, if there's any more question.
All right. Thank you so much, Nosmayawa. You really did justice to that question. And she has affirmed as well that you were able to answer her question. So let's move on. I don't think there's any other question. From the chat box, I can't see any other question. So I will take that as the end of questions. There are no more questions coming forth. I want us to really go back and reminisce on the things we've heard here today, because it's not enough to just listen, go with the flow and, get all fired up. I want to tell you that firing might just end this night and tomorrow morning. If you don't take action and start doing something as little as probably an introduction of yourself on your page, there's something it does when you start getting those likes. Probably you may not really get likes though, but then when you look at the views and you see that, okay, this post has really gotten to people, you will have a leading, you will feel, a push to go ahead and do something more. So let's start taking action, re-strategizing. Start from, if you've not built anything before, identify yourself. Who are you? Know yourself, what you want to be known for. It does not come at once. Everyone is still in the journey to clarity. But then when you start taking action, you're definitely going to be gaining more clarity as you go forward. Thank you so much, Nosmayawa. Also, I want us to, as many as on Facebook, if you've not recognized with us on our Facebook page, very important. Any opportunity that comes up, probably jobs, or our Skill Up Academy webinar, or a freebie session like this, you may likely miss out on it because there is no access to our Facebook page or our LinkedIn page. So please, if you don't follow us on our Facebook, North Skill Up Academy, a very simple name, right? I know we all want to skill up. So kindly just go to your Facebook, click on the search button, type in North Skill Up Academy. This is a space, a hub for growth, learning, relearning. You can also throw in your questions there in the chat box, and also join the WhatsApp community. If you're not in the WhatsApp community here, probably you got this link to join here from Facebook or LinkedIn. We'll also add you. Just kindly send a message on any of our pages, either on LinkedIn or on Facebook. So with that, we've come to the end of our session today. I sincerely want to appreciate our speaker, Nosmayawa. You really did justice. Thank you so, so much for tonight's session. And for everyone who has stayed up till this time, it means that you actually want value and you've actually gotten value from this place. And I just hope and pray that we all go home and put into action all that we've learned in this place. Yeah, that is all for tonight. You can keep up with us by following us on our Facebook page and LinkedIn page. That's the best you can do to keep up with us. Else you will likely fall off track. And then if for any reason you have some questions, you can always reach out to Noslov, Gadima, or Nosmayawa. They will attend to you. So with that, we've come to the end of our session. And I want to say good night to everyone. Do have a productive night rest and a productive day tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you so much. Goodness for that. And thank you everyone for staying to the end. So remember, keep in touch. We will share a lot about our offering over the coming days. But this month we have the No Skill Up Code Bootcamp coming up. So if you're interested in learning more about skills that you can use to build your brand online, we've got you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.